No.
No, it doesn't.
Well, I mean, it's interesting.
All right, cool. Well, I'm here with Steve Hier of Palmer Square and Logan Square, and we're going to talk about the, I don't know, I think of it in my brain as the Palmer Square Tree Project, but it's a really cool story about the neighborhood that you are an integral part of. I guess we could say, did you spearheaded it maybe?
Yes.
So tell me from the beginning, when did you move here and what's the story?
So I moved over here in 1978 from the DePaul area where I wanted to buy a building but couldn't afford it. And even though I had excellent credit, good job, I couldn't, the neighborhood was redlined, Logan Square, and it was thought as a declining place, not ascending.
What year was this?
1977. And most of the community around Palmer Square and all the buildings, and a lot of the big buildings had a lot of problems. And so people were leaving, they weren't coming in. And so after losing a couple buildings that I bid on Logan Boulevard, I got a winning bid on a building just down the street here on Palmer Square for $50,000, but I couldn't get a mortgage from any of the big banks. So I finally tracked down a little savings loan that would lend me the money 20% down and 2 points higher than what the big banks were charging. They were charging 6.5. I paid 8.5.
Okay.
So that was start over here. And what I really liked was, facing out park, but the park was in really, really bad condition.
Mm-hmm.
Had years and years of soccer players in the middle that had concaved out. And every time it rained, with clay being the base, it was just a big swimming pool. And then the other end here on the west end was a baseball field that teams played, organized, and left just terrible messes, but hardly any trees left here. So I and a few other fellows organized the Homeowners Association of Palmer Square and got people interested. And in 1980, we started planting trees. And just ship this off there. So we started planting trees, donated by Morton Arboretum, by the city of Chicago. And one Saturday, we're out, the city forestry guy came by and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "We're planting trees." He said, "Do you have a permit?" "No, we ain't got no stinking permit."
Right.
So I said, "Well, you can't do this." So I called up our alderman at the time and say, "Hey, we're planting trees. This guy hassled us. That next week, the head of forestry called me up and said, "I'm so sorry.
Nice.
You're not, I said, "You're not trees. We are, but yet
Doing your job, Corey.
doing your job."
Right.
So for all during the 80s, every spring and every fall, we would plant at least 15 trees, some big ones, some little ones about yay big. And you can see what's out there now. It's almost totally forested.
Yeah.
From maybe, 20 trees that were left from the original plantings. And so again, as I gave you that map, we've got 28 different varieties of trees out there now. And most of it was just happenstance. We really didn't know what we were doing or where to plant them. We just did it.
Yeah.
And then in 1979, the city came through and cut down all the Dutch elm trees. All the elm trees they were failing from Dutch elm disease. And so we worked with Morton Arboretum that at the time was developing some Dutch elm resistant elms. And we kind of became the kitchens. Will these survive and how will they work out? And so I think we have 53 of them in the park, and then on all of the area, I don't know what you'd call it, in front of people's houses.
It's like
all the way around. Yeah, from the sidewalk out the street.
Okay.
And most of them that we planted in the 80s now are 40 feet tall and all doing very well. So we haven't planted trees in a long time because we're just pretty much done.
Yeah, there's plenty of them. Just enough to fill in, but not deep. Still use the space.
We wanted to leave the ends open so kids could play ball or soccer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But we really don't like to have leagues now that come in with cleats and tear stuff up.
Right.
So it's a passive park.
Mm-hmm.
And if you come out here on a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday afternoon, you'll see all these people with little kids and picnics and blankets and
it's wonderful,
having fun in a passive park.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I love it.
And Palmer Square is part of the Logan Square Historical District. So it is protected on many levels, city, state, and federal, that you can't build something out there without the city of Chicago giving permission.
Right.
So,
When you say build something, what might people?
somebody wants to put in a tennis court.
Okay.
No.
Right.
Or so I can't even think of anything else, but anything where trees would have to be taken out.
Mhm.
And there are other parks and whatever that have those amenities, but this is a passive place.
Right.
Where kids can run, kids can play, but not big organized events like having a concert venue there. We do have, I don't know if you've been aware, on the East End.
Yeah.
We have the jazz thing going every Sunday afternoon.
Mhm.
That's fine.
Because it's not permanent and it
It's
doesn't
not
tear.
permanent and doesn't tear stuff up.
Right. Yeah. Right. So I want to talk to trees specifically a little bit because a lot of these are, I mean, you didn't know where as you were planting them, or was it a conscious kind of?
What we did is we'll take anything you can give us.
Okay. From the Morton Arboretum and
From the city.
Mhm.
And then later, as the park district, and they have done some of these more, how do I say this, different species of trees. And so they've probably planted another 30 or 40 of getting us more of a mix now.
Yeah. And are these all like local to Chicago, or are they?
I don't know,
Yeah.
but you could certainly punch a Google in and say, where are the most ginkgo trees?
Right. Yeah.
The most white oaks or red oaks or.
Yeah, because I wonder, like, how many of them just thrive here regardless?
Do not know.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, cool. So before trees here, I mean, you said that there was like
In the middle,
was it?
baseball field on the end.
Did you get any resistance from people when you started
Yeah.
doing the work?
Absolutely.
Talk about that a little.
When we first started planting, they were called bare root trees, and the city would just pull them out of the ground, and so you'd have just no ball of dirt around them. And so we would dig a hole, plant them, and then there used to be a system out in the park, which has been disconnected now, but and we would water them. If they were in the way of the soccer players or the baseball players, just pull them out and toss them.
Right.
So next year we come back and put them in again. Some of them get tossed, some of them get planted again. And so it was just perseverance on our part. And so, well, I can't say that we won, but it just wasn't a good place to be playing baseball and knocking balls over into houses on the other side of the
Right.
street. And some of the people that played the soccer and the baseball weren't very good neighbors.
Yeah.
In terms of picking up themselves. And then one of the things that we had a real problem was in the late 70s into the middle 80s is gang issues out in the park at night.
Right.
This was kind of a dividing line between here.
Do you remember the gangs?
Well, I think it was the OA and the Black Disciples.
Okay.
Orchestra Albany, which is still present north of here.
Really?
And you'll see on garages O with an A in it.
Okay.
And so it is gradually, the 80s, young people like myself and my wife started buying over here, saying, God, what a great deal for the buck.
Big, beautiful house on a park, right?
And after we got going and made it a little safer, then investors started looking at some of these big buildings on the corners and saying, gee, wouldn't these be wonderful condo buildings?
Right.
Or high rental buildings. And so after we did the work, they reaped the rewards, although we did too,
Right.
by having a safer neighborhood.
Right.
But it was pretty wild over here in the early 80s, late 70s,
Yeah.
very wild. The first night that I moved in down the street, I think it was the 4th of July in 1978, it took forever to close. And I laid in bed with the fireworks going off, which I thought was fireworks, it was gunfire. And I'm laying in bed thinking, what have I done?
Yeah.
And my father said, what did you buy in such a shitty neighborhood for?
Hmm.
I said, Dad, I had $12,000.
Right.
It's 20% on 50.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I had.
Right.
So he didn't give me any money.
Are you from Chicago?
No, I'm
South Dakota. Okay. So you didn't know anything.
No.
Okay. And you said that when you were shopping here, you said you bought this place for about $50,000.
No, the one down the street.
Oh, the one down the street.
For
Okay.
50. Yeah.
Okay. And you were looking in places like Lincoln Park. What do things cost over there?
I look back now. I lived around Dickens and Dayton, and it was a 3 brick front and a 3 flat coach house, $120,000.
Okay.
Couldn't afford that.
Yeah. It's a little more than double to get over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you know the market.
Uh-huh.
That was 1977. 100 wanted it, and I'll sell it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't get the money together.
Right. So you placed down the street, and how'd you end up here?
Lived down there 10 years and knew that this house was an old lady that would be kind of paddling around and on the side yard and whatever. And see her, and from my neighbors, I found out that she'd been living in here for 2 years with no heat and no electricity.
Oh.
And had no relatives to check on her, and somehow somebody came in here and took her out, and the Cook County Guardian took over her estate. And then they gave it to a bank to sell, and there was an auction, and my wife and I won. This was 1987.
Right.
And most of the ceilings had collapsed upstairs, water damage. Most of the radiators had the water system frozen. There was a 60 amp service, no outlets upstairs. It was just like walking into 1907.
Right.
So at the time I was a contractor. In January, February of that year, put all my guys in here and we just started working, fixing new electricity, new plumbing, fixing all the plaster damage, putting in new radiators. Whoa, it was a lot of work.
Especially if you're upgrading from 1907.
Yeah. Nope.
Okay. And okay. Was there a specific, when you moved to the street, was there a specific moment that you said, was there a specific incident that made you say, I'm going to start planting trees here?
I thought that it was a great way to get the neighbors together. Hey, you want to improve the neighborhood? Come on out and get a handful of people out here and we'll get to know each other.
Right.
And through knowing each other, you have strength of protection, of not just one person calling the police, you got a dozen, or not just one person going in and seeing the alderman, it might bring 20. So, hey, this is not cool.
Right.
We want better police. We want better service. We want whatever. So,
yeah.
And in 1980, after we'd got several people involved, every person that moved into the neighborhood and bought one of the buildings, knocking on the door with a bottle of wine, hey, come to our next meeting. And then we started having progressive dinners where 3 or 4 different people would open up their house on a Saturday night, and you'd go from one house to the other with an appetizer, a salad, whatever.
Yeah.
And just last weekend, we celebrated our 45th of having these dinners. And most of the people have turned over now, but it's a tradition now.
Yeah.
And it's the same way to know your neighbors, to have a meeting, to organize, to how do we take care of an issue that we're having.
Yeah. What gave you that idea? I mean, you're from South Dakota. I imagine it's a very different.
Yeah, I grew up on a ranch and a farm or whatever.
Yeah, your next neighbors.
Yeah, long way away.
Right.
So I don't know, just seemed a way, if you're knocking on doors, will you help come plant a tree? Will you come to a meeting next week? And will you help knock on other doors?
Right.
And community organizing can be really challenging.
How so?
Because a lot of people say, yeah, I'd like to help you out, but I'm too busy. I support what you're doing, but I just can't, Saturday, can't be there. That type of thing.
Right.
And so it was really fortunate that people that wanted to move over here and buy one of these buildings were go-getters to start with. And we're taking a risk. And so collectively, it was all in our own best interest to be together and be able to report on something and have these meetings and see the alderman.
Right.
Not one person, 20 people, and then to vote. And the alderman would know how many votes you got out of Palmer Square.
Right. Put a little fear in their heart.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
So how did I come around to this? I've always been a go-getter.
Just happened.
Always been someone that sees a need for something and then to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Was there a point in time ever that this is, what am I trying to say? Was there a point in time where you realized where it clicked and you're like, we're working?
Oh yeah. We'd, instead of 5 guys out planting a tree, we'd have 20 or 30. And then the alderman would send over some of his guys to help us. Or the city would say, when you needed a service on something that we couldn't take care of, you knew somebody to call. And then all of a sudden you were somebody. You were the Homeowners Association of Palmer Square and you'd been in business, and you could get articles written in local newspapers, or you could get a TV interview with somebody saying, hey, this is what these people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And through that, you got more people. The more news that got out there, the more people in Lincoln Park or DePaul area. Oh, Palmer Square, Logan Square. I've never been over there. Or, gee, is that a safe place now? Or is it getting better? Or,
Yeah.
and then you come to one of our meetings, you say, hell, it's getting better.
Right.
So,
Okay. I moved in 2010 over just across on Albany. And at that point, it's all I could afford. And I knew Logan Square a little bit just from going to shows. There really wasn't a bunch of restaurants or anything over here. It was basically where the do-it-yourself music stuff would happen. And it was pretty, but there wasn't much happening here. So I would change from 2010 probably until I think Scofflaw opened probably 2014 maybe.
down the street, yep.
You know, and then Parsons opened, and then you know, then there were shops and more, but just things.
And
all
the California, the Milwaukee infill.
Right. So I mean, I saw it change a lot, and imagine you're saying when you moved in, it was even
Zero.
How many did you notice distinct waves of change?
Well, I suppose the 80s was the big time where young people started moving over here because they could get a really good deal, twice as much as they could get anyplace else for more. So the 80s were really, really strong. And then getting this park squared away. And then into the 90s too, I suppose.
Well, I remember the 90s, Chicago there was a big like crime wave and then real rough and everything.
It was real rough over here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember, well, this would have been in 1979. I went, Shakespeare Station wasn't there then. It was just like a little two-flat on the corner there. And I went and see the commander at 4:30. I had an appointment with him. He said, you yuppies from Lincoln Park, you think you're going to come over here and change everything. Well, you're not. I was, "Oh, well, gee, thank you.
Right.
That's a big boost."
Yeah.
And then we would meet with every new commander and say, hey, it's what we would like from you. Why can't you have guys park out on the park here a lot and just
Hang out.
hang out?
They're going to park somewhere, and they still do it.
And do it. They're out here.
You haven't let up.
No.
This is just an ongoing thing. It's
Oh,
how you exist in your community. I
Yep.
love it. Do you remember the first tree that you put here?
Oh, I know it was 1980, but which was the first? All these hybrid elms along Albany and along Sacramento down there, these that are 40-footers, those would have been a lot of the first ones.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
I like the elms because they're, and then in 1979, when they cut down on Logan Boulevard, there's a picture of that little package I gave you, I think, of showing you the stumps. I came home one day and there were signs on the trees, just the big monster ones down here, 120, 130-year-old ones that were planted original to the 1890 plan. And it says, no parking, forestry, removal. And I went, whoa, they'd already cut them all Logan Boulevard. So I called the alderman and said, can we put a stop to this? And this is what we're going to do. We're going to have them injected, and we're going to put up beetle traps all over the neighborhood at our own cost. And so since 1979, every 3 years, we have these big trees, including this one out in front here, injected with a fungicide that if the beetles do lay eggs, it kills them. And what the Dutch elm disease is, it strangles the tree because it gets into the outer little layer, which is the living part of the tree that is the like straws that suck moisture and nutrients up to the leaves. And if it strangled them, the tree's dead, usually within a year.
Okay. Who does it for?
We pay for that.
Really? The Palmer neighborhood
We used to when we lost some. Now it's homeowners pay for their tree in front of their house.
That's cool.
And then if there's somebody that won't, then collectively we'll chip in and get it done.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And what do you think in 50 years? What do you think it's going to be like over here?
Same. People come and go. Beautiful old houses stay. And just that was a pioneer over here in the 80s have totally fixed up their houses. And as you maintain a house, you keep a good roof, keep the tuck pointing up, you stay forever. They last forever.
Right.
Where all this new construction doesn't last very long at all. The split face block
just crumbles.
It crumbles. I could tell you stories about, I do litigation stuff now on these places. They leak like sieves.
Even if you seal them, yeah.
Even if you see they're built poorly. Yeah. So these big houses around here,
right.
Their walls are 18 inches thick. Veneer, a brick on the outside, then a double brick that holds them up with a space in between. And most of them have overhangs to keep the water off the walls or good parapets. So these houses would be here forever.
Going anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if people take care of 'em. I know that the two on the side of Albany here, I know that the one on the east side sold about this time last year, maybe a year and a half ago now.
And now the other one just sold 3 months ago.
And I've been walking past those, and like even the garage for the one on the west, every year I've always loved just how the ivy would. I notice it taking down the ivy now, which is good for the garage. But it's been the magical neighborhood.
Yeah,
it really.
These houses come on the market.
Yeah. I sold one over at 2102 Humboldt. It's a kind of reddish Queen Anne with the real ornate stuff. And it's a landmark status. And I know the owners of it and doing everything they can keep it going and take good care of it. And
with the really, really cool thing about Logan Square is now that we have the historic, and so you can't tear one down, and you can rehab it, but anything from the street, you can't change it.
touch it.
And the Logan Square preservation has been very, very strong, and still is very strong. You know, the big rehabbing the monument area, that's all Logan Square preservation, pushed that for 10 years.
Yeah.
And finally coming to fruition.
Do you go to those meetings?
Oh, I'm still been part of that group forever.
I've been meaning to go to it's at the how do you say it, Minnekerk?
Minnekirken, just up on the corner, yeah.
Yeah, I've been meaning to go there for.
There's a guy named Andy Schneider, a realtor also.
Yeah.
But he is a force, and he never quits. It's like I used to be, now I'm slowing down. But yeah, he's really, really a special neighborhood guy.
Yeah. I was trying to list that building a few years ago. I posted it in the neighborhood Facebook group to ask if anybody had photos of it. He responded right away. With a couple of really cool old pictures. I don't know where he's from, but
he maintains an archive of every picture that was ever taken. Or whatever. Yeah.
That's cool. And if you look online, it's so defined. You know, there's a few different databases. They're just very broad Chicago. I found that they cover Lincoln Park, parts of downtown. Like it's kind of, but when it comes to Logan Square and Avondale and other neighborhoods that were, for whatever, it seems like there are neighborhoods that were just never really important to people that are important now, but I can't imagine the kind of like archive stuff that's just been lost because no one cared if things were being put together.
Yep.
You know? So obviously you think the city should do more projects like
this Park District now out here at Palmer Square. And I know we're trying to get the alderman to the south of us to extend the historic district farther down and on into Douglas Park and whatever. I forget her name. Fuentes, maybe.
Yeah, Jesse
Fuentes. And we're trying to get her on board. And this boulevard system was just lined all the way to the lake on the south side with these beautiful old houses that fell into disrepair and got torn down.
Yeah.
So, well, what will be, what is, nothing you can do about that, but you still can what's left. And the real fortunate thing about the Logan Square Preservation District is there probably would have been, but it never got into the wholesale, taking down all the little cottages up on Logan Boulevard frames. But now would be what's on Lindale over here, these ugly pieces of
that real narrow too, because all of these were built before there were the rules about how far you could go. You can go lot line to lot line. These are big lots anyway. So now then down, they build something new. It's like you're in a tiny bedroom and a weird layout because this is all fit.
No yard.
City rules. Yeah.
And a deck garage. You ever had your deck?
Yep.
But no trees.
Or I think, you know, your actions here compared to like other problem solving approaches that people take neighborhoods.
The most important thing you can do to organize a neighborhood and make it a better, safer place is to know your neighbors and take care of your neighbors. And a new neighbor moves in, knock, knock, knock. Would you like to come to our meeting? Here's some history on doing what we've done. If you don't know your neighbors, you're isolated. And lived in places, you know, in Lincoln Park when I first moved over here and in DePaul area. Anybody other than maybe the person that lived in the unit above you or below you or whatever. But in terms of all the people down the block, Probably not. And with the new condo type living thing, I found as a building inspector that if you were there 2 or 3 years, you moved on.
Right.
So you never got a chance to know your neighbors, or did you care? So if there was a neighborhood issue, could you organize? Hell, a lot of these condo associations that I worked for as a consultant, they don't even know their neighbors that live in their own building.
Mm-hmm.
If they got a 6 flat, they might know one person.
Right. That's a great point. Which is really interesting when you think about. So nowadays, a lot of what I hear a lot of talk about is there's a big avoidance to single family in a lot of areas. Like, I mean, this is a single family to you, but at one point it must have, no, it was
Always been a single family here.
really, okay.
All of the families around here and on Logan after World War II, they were subdivided.
Mm-hmm.
So when a lot of the new people came and bought, they unsubdivided and turned them back into a single family home.
Right.
And I was just really, really lucky here in that I'm the third owner. The lady whose estate I bought this moved here in 1921.
It's crazy. And she lived here until around
For
19.
85, 86.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of these big old houses, as they turned over and were subdivided or whatever, stained glass went away. The light fixtures, original to the house, went away.
Right.
So you had to start over from scratch. So, I mean, the house was in deplorable condition, but it had never been ransacked or all but removed.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Cool. How has this changed you?
I don't think it's changed me one bit. Growing up in western South Dakota, you are a worker, you are a doer, or you don't survive. So I think I brought South Dakota with me in terms of, it's a problem. Do I bury my head in the sand? No. Whole thing about growing up out in the West, where you're self-sufficient, self-reliant, and you have an issue, you do something about it. And when you make a commitment to something, you stick with it. And if you don't like something, you change it. And how do you do that? You organize. One voice, nobody hears it. 20, 30, 50, 100, you get some traction. And if you have an asshole neighbor, you say, this is not going to work. All of a sudden, you're going to find the city knocking on your door because you don't mow your weeds, you got rats going all over, the windows are broken.
Is there anything you would have done differently in hindsight?
Oh,
Or
no.
less of?
No. Just kept plugging every day.
Cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank
And
you.
it's amazing that when new people move in and you knock their door and say, hey, come to a meeting, like to, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you have an organization over here?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is great. Now they become worker bees.
Where do those meetings happen? Is someone in the neighborhood?
At a house. We rotate houses.
Okay.
Yeah.
If someone in this neighborhood wanted to get more involved and help, how should about do?
Our homeowners association is limited to those live on Palmer's.
Okay.
The ends, so that's part of our bylaws that you must be an owner. But the Palmer Square Park Association that, puts on the Jazz Fest, and that takes care of everybody. So now there's kind of a homeowners and the Palmer Square Park Association. And so anybody can join that. Homeowners, it's homeowners.
And I imagine most of them have been here for quite a long time.
Yeah.
But
there's been a big turnover. I mean, people get old. The fellow next door bought he and his partner in 1968, I think. So he's the oldest, and then I'm probably the next oldest, 78 or.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And I raised my daughters here and never had any problems. And that's when it even was safe. It was never to the point that I was afraid to let them play in the park or anything, but not at night.
Right. Yeah. That brings another question to mind. I know that St. Sylvester used to be the Schwinn. When exactly that was torn down? Was that here when you moved in?
Oh, no, that was torn down much earlier than that. But you can Google that, Schwinn Mansion, tear down, whatever.
Yeah.
And then the big building on the end next to the church, south of the church, was where it was a residence place where a lot of their workers lived.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're
on the it's not Palma, was it Shakespeare?
Yeah.
Building there, that's the parsonage.
Yeah, it's called the Shakespeare. Yeah, Wynn had that bit. The same guy that built, I forget his name, built that building. Yeah, okay.
And a lot of their workers lived there.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're given some really great advice, whether you knew it, if you wanted to share with someone watching this, like what are you telling everybody?
You got to organize your neighbors if you want to get something that simple as that. And having little community events like progressive dinners or street fairs or whatever. If somebody has an issue, help them out because they're going to help you out. So this becomes this big umbrella over a little neighborhood then. And people come and go, but if you have people that care, it stays. We've been here 45 years now. In this our little organization. That's unheard of. Unheard of.
Well, thank you for doing it.
Oh,
I mean, I know you we're doing it for the thanks, but
no.
there's you move here. They don't know the story of it. So on behalf of everybody, thank you.
Well, you're more than welcome. I enjoy a challenge. Enjoy a challenge.
Cool. Well, this goes to show that just because something's challenging, I mean, as it obviously is.
Oh, Fib.
So I appreciate it.
And I have made so many really, really good friends over this 45 years. A lot of them have moved on. And what happened when young people moved over here, they didn't have children. So in 1985, there were 6 babies born in 6 months on Palmer Square. Young childless couples moving in. And one of my daughters was one of them.
Yeah.
And again, now you have play dates with babies and blah, 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 blah. And
Life literally is
6, unbelievable, all from like March to August. And I used to, including wife was a mailman must have been involved or something.
Well, thanks.
A very virile mailman.
I love it.
And then what happened then for a lot of, as their children got grade school age, didn't have a wonderful public school system over here. And so I sent my kids to Catholic school, although I'm not Catholic, neither was my wife. But it was the safest, best education. And a lot of people moved to the suburbs to get better education for their children. So
that was my story. Born in '85, and we went to Catholic school.
Yeah.
Same deal.
Went to St. John the Birchman. One went to St. Ben's Irving High School. Another one to Lincoln Park. But yeah,
cool.
Just make things work.
Well, this is great. Thank you.
Oh, happy to do it.
Sharing all of it. We're doing it, and this is wild.
Oh, there's the picture of what was left of. They called it the 79 city just threw and took them all down.
Is this picture right here? It's the other side.
No, that's Logan Boulevard.
Oh, that's Logan Boulevard. Okay.
Yeah. And then the ones that we saved are just going down in here, these big monster trees, elms. Costs us about $600 a tree every 3 years to have them injected.
Nothing to keep
which
those.
is nothing.
Yeah. Cool. What's the name of the company that does that?
Oh, I don't even know who they all do. Davy, I think, is one that we have used in the past. But what we do is we usually shop around, and they do it by the circumference of the tree.
Okay.
And how many gallons of this stuff get pumped to tree. And they do it in spring when it's just waking up. It's starting to do its hydraulic thing that then pulls this fungicide through the whole tree.
Yeah, cool. I got it.
So now what we're trying to do, that I've been working on, is trying to get the elm trees that are left here to be included a historical tree that was planted in 1890 and still here. And, as you know, sometimes the city does really stupid things in terms of new water lines, new sewer lines. Tree away, cut it down, which they massacred trees all over the north side because they were in the way. Could you go around them? Oh, no, we can't do that.
All right. I remember, probably 10, 12 years ago now, this whole west side of the park, they had dug up and they were doing something. I think it was
that was for people's gas. They put a big underground vault there, a switching station, but they didn't cut any trees down because it was an open space, and it always will be. It was a mess and a half.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, when we first started talking off camera, you said there that you're hoping to designate it, as landmarks or something. What's that process?
Well, Arboretum,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is an educational type, and we'll see maybe grants that will be funneled through the park district to make more improvements to, who knows. I've always been, let's have the idea first and figure out what you want to do with the idea second.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Just take action and it'll come into.
Take action and then figure it out.
Yeah.
Why going? No idea.
We got to take the first few steps to figure it out.
First steps. Yeah, rest will follow.
Cool. Right on.
So if you want to take a hybrid elm tree with you, I've got about 20 of them going in my backyard here. Or if you know someone, I have raised 200 or 300 in my backyard You know, all these little seeds that are blowing all over the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I'll take them and take a downy towel and wet it and sprinkle the leaves on it, and then more downy towel, and then keep it wet. And you pull it back and all of this little sprout. Take that sprout and put it in a little styrofoam coffee thing, put it in the ground. All of a sudden you got a tree. Then you move it to a different one. Now you got a tree and a tree and a tree. And then when they get 6-8 feet tall, as long as they're taken care of, you get a 40-footer.
Yeah. How long does it take to get to the point where it's ready to put it in the ground?
I like 6 feet tall above ground. And then we stake them.
Yeah. And is that, what, a couple of years?
Oh, that's 5-6 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'd love to take some pictures of those.
Oh, yeah. Going back here.
Well,
this one.
So say that one more time.
The trees that are up against the curb, those are the original 120-year-old trees.
Okay.
And then everything else that's in the middle are trees we planted. So, for example, this tree right here, a hybrid elm. The one on the corner is a hybrid elm. And you see how they just do this great crown. And that tree's probably 15 years old. I planted it this big.
Cool.
All elms in different stages of, well, I've got probably 10 more over there that are getting close. But you just got to keep putting them in bigger pots because they get root strangulation.
Okay. And so these are, how old do you think these are?
Well, for example, here's one that's maybe 1.
I would never even notice that.
Yeah.
It's just growing in the ground.
Yeah.
And what do these seeds look like? Is that what these are?
That's what these are. These you guys. Well, let me show you. These are the elm trees.
These are the elm tree seeds.
Yeah. By the billions.
Huh. So those you just plant, soak them.
Well, I put them in the downy and keep them in the sunlight. Keep putting water on top, and then they germinate. So everywhere.
Yeah.
So for example, this one might be, I don't know, maybe 4 years old.
Okay.
And they've grown maybe 3-4 inches already just this spring.
Do you fertilize them or you just water them?
I just water them. Well, I fill them up with dirt in there.
Cool.
Yeah, so if you want to take one of these with you and know somebody that wants to.
I actually had a big tree in my backyard. I think it was an oak that came down in that cyclone or whatever it was last July.
I remember.
And now there's nothing there. So that'd be really cool.
Yeah, one that you can carry. And for example, this guy he's due for a new pot. But you can buy a pot like that at Home Depot or whatever for a couple bucks or whatever. Then you got to keep moving them to bigger and bigger pots. And usually by this pot, this guy will be up this tall, and then he'll be ready to go in the ground.
Okay. Just dig a hole big enough to put it in and stake it.
Stake it. And to start out, put a lot of good mulch. As when it goes up, spread dig a big enough hole so where you can move the root system a little bit.
Right.
And then you water it. And there's one right here. Again, that's an elm right there. That's, I don't know, 20 years old, maybe that one.
So once you stake it, mulch it, water it rather well, nature does the rest.
That's true. You don't do this. Say hello in the morning or night.
Awesome.